You're listening to the Red Book Show on Wexford New People's Movement Radio. Join the conversation. There's a chat room on wnpmr.com. Now, we started the show, Steve, sarcastically maybe, talking about one reaction to the crises that face us at the moment, and that is the calls for curfew on Wexford's main street.
3 o'clock maybe in the afternoon.
I suppose that was a fearful response. Maybe a response coming from a place of fear and hopelessness.
Yeah.
Our two guests joining us now are coming at things from the opposite a very
direction.
brave response. Leah Bonheim and Liz Flynn are members of the organising structure for the upcoming Common Ground Festival, taking place in St. Peter's Square from 12 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, the 15th of August. Welcome along, guys. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about what people can expect to see at Common Grounds?
Well, I got the pat on the lap there, so I think that's my cue. So Common Ground really was born out of this idea that we are, the community isn't connected enough, and that so many problems arise out of the fact that we feel disconnected, or we're maybe not even conscious of the fact that we're not really connecting with each other. Maybe we're saying hello and having a few brief words and discussing the weather, whatever, when we do meet people, but maybe that's not the level of depth that we really need to be getting to. And then not only are we maybe disconnected from each other, but we're disconnected from our political power, our social power, because when we come together and organise, when we share ideas, what feels impossible suddenly becomes, we see possibilities, we see avenues. So that's part of it. And then also reconnection with nature. And I'd love if Liz would speak about that actually, because Liz has so much to say on that.
So much.
Because in a sense, the disconnection that we feel from each other is very much rooted to our disconnection with the land, where we've come from, and where our food comes from. We literally depend on it. So it's it's many different levels of connection and celebrating that. Not a transactional capitalistic kind of celebration of togetherness, but one that is non-transactional, that is kind of better, bigger than the sum of its parts, is what you said to me the other day. That we're just exploring that courageous, as you said, and creative possibilities.
I think the opposite of transactional for relationships is a transformational relationship.
Exactly, Steve.
Yeah, that's what we're
exactly,
after.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because this is Liz speaking now, not Common Ground, but I've noticed a gradual sort of disconnect in community over the last sort of couple of decades, but really since 2020, where everybody had the heart frightened out of them, and it was like stay away, and I don't think that's quite back to whatever normal was. And an awful lot of people feel terribly isolated, so I was really thrilled when I heard about this. I was really delighted, because it's ordinary people doing ordinary things, and suddenly it becomes an extraordinary event. Do you know what I mean? The feedback that we're getting from everybody involved is phenomenal. I've had people where I work in the south of the county, and I mentioned it, as I do, and an awful lot of people, oh my God, what a great idea, that's amazing, and it's not costing you anything, and it's a free thing. It's a free thing. It's a free thing because why not?
Just on that, Liz, it's free in every possible meaning of the word. So it's you're going to have a free market.
A really free market.
And that's kind of a barter-based market then.
Yes.
No barter.
No
barter. Barter is transactional.
That's true. That's true.
So it'll be just everything on the table is free, or everything on the coat stand, or whatever, our clothing, the clothing that's available, the media, everything on the table is just for your taking, if you feel that your life is improved by having that thing. Okay. And are people free to bring? Unfortunately, not this time. We're not equipped to take anything from people. We don't know how much we'd end up with. So
and that's a very valid point. But everything that's there, you don't have to don't feel the need to bring anything with you. Just pick
No,
it
it's
up
no
and
swaps,
take
no.
it.
No, nothing is
Yeah,
expected
yeah.
of you except maybe an exchange of words, a bit of conversation
Yeah.
with the person who's manning the stand.
Brilliant. And free entertainment as well. And
Yeah.
free
Yeah, there's
poetry
a lot of
and-
musicians and poets
Okay.
participating.
Yeah.
The Bell Steve here.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm actually, it's just maybe a happy coincidence or maybe just something that serendipitous is that my book War Stories concludes with a section. You know, there's the coffee grounds section, the battleground section, and the last section is called Common Ground, which is actually the title of this festival. So I'm going to be reading from Common Ground and going to be having a free raffle, not a raffle where you have to buy a ticket, but basically you just put your name in a hat or whatever, and I'll draw a couple of names out each hour, maybe one an hour, and then people will get a copy of War Stories.
Great.
Yeah,
That was a beautiful little synchronization there. That it just so happened that
it wasn't pre-planned.
no, it's
Yeah.
it's because it's an intuition that we share, that we want to find common ground.
Yeah,
I
that's
suppose,
right.
and it's echoing
Yes.
throughout the community that this is something that we want.
I think this is Common Ground is basically two words that mean hope, basically,
Yeah.
in our world.
Where did the seed of this come from, Leah? Because I know you were very involved with the Anarchist Book Club. You set it up, and I know you don't want to be called the leader of it, but you certainly were the leader and figure, and you brought a lot of people together, and I guess this has continued on from.
Yeah, I suppose that the Anarchist Book Club was like the nesting ground for this idea to come about, because without having attended those book meetings for so long, I wouldn't have known that there were other people out there who could help to make it something like the Common Ground Fete a possibility. I felt quite isolated before I started the Anarchist Book Club, and it was through that I kind of like, I suppose, felt more hopeful for our community, because I just want to like share this little piece that I experienced today. I was listening to a podcast, and it was actually about deep ecology, which is sort of this shallow ecology, which is what we're used to hearing about, and then this deep ecology, which is sort of non-anthropocentric, which doesn't put humans at the center of everything. And he was speaking about experiencing despair, and I hope like this isn't off tone for your radio show, but
it's good. It's all good.
we sometimes do experience it's an emotion, right? That's all it is, and we're meant to feel emotions in order to then have appropriate reactions. But he was saying that, you know, despair doesn't, you don't have to be fearful of experiencing despair. You can have the experience of despair, and if you have that experience with community, there's something very healing about experiencing sadness or fear or despair within community, as long as it's sort of everybody's going in with intention. Because in order to have those feelings, sometimes they're necessary before you can take the next step and actually do something about the problems that cause you to have those emotions. So coming together and sharing and knowing that other people are going through the same things is in itself empowering and therapeutic.
Yeah, acknowledging it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely acknowledging it.
In community.
Sometimes people find it very difficult to I know I do. I'm flitting all over the place, you know, but it was sort of suggested at one of the gatherings before the date was decided that try and find something to help people focus in on what they actually want from community. Because it's a big question, isn't it? It's a very big question.
Yeah.
And we came up with the idea of writing something down. So we're going to be weaving from local willows, weaving hoops from local willows, and then there's fabric where people can write down their intentions. We'll hang it around the bandstand. Obviously remove it at the end of the day as well, even though everything is biodegradable, but that's neither here nor there. You don't want to leave just leave memories, like, you know, at the end of the day. But sometimes writing something down, I guess maybe you might feel this too. I don't know, I'm assuming here, which is always dangerous.
I'm all
Writing
for writing
something
things down.
Can focus the mind, you know.
It does.
Really, and if people can do that, we can go around and take shots of everything that people have suggested or have aspirations towards, and work towards those then, because there's no point in having something that we all feel community needs. People have to decide what
Yeah.
community means
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
And it's such a big word as well, community, isn't it? It's such a,
It's yeah.
you know, it really is. It means so much to so many people, different things to everybody virtually.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean everybody hanging out together all the time,
No.
but it definitely does mean support. That's my my understanding of the word community, a support network. Like-minded people, or even if you come up with the most bonkers of ideas and throw it out, sometimes somebody will bite, you know, and then something wonderful can happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
I think another word that comes to mind is solidarity as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that's often missing in our world.
And it all came from, I suppose, in a funny sort of a way, an idea that you had.
Well, I think it was
In Bridgetown, and then in town here, and you know, all this stuff built around it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I'd love to be able to. My ego is big enough that I'd love to be able to take credit for everything. But I think I think what's happened is, unfortunately, those things, the third spaces, are disappearing around the world, and what we're doing would have been very common at one stage.
Yeah.
And now, unfortunately, it's not so, and maybe our tech overlords don't want it to be so either, because it doesn't boost their profits. But one thing that keeps coming back here, and it keeps coming up in our conversations on every show, no matter who comes on, is the disconnection. We're supposed to be living in this period where we're more connected than at any time in the past due to technology, but yet all the figures for anxiety, for addiction, for mental health issues, which for loneliness, would show that we're more disconnected than ever. I was just looking before we came on. The population of Wexford town is now estimated to be 22,460 people, which is higher than it's ever been in history. But we don't see those people. The main street is not busy, and GA clubs are not forming new clubs. There's not new community groups popping up. It's just not happening. So where are all these people? And if they're sitting at home watching Netflix and ordering off Temu, is that contributing to the massive problems with mental health and addiction that we have? Is it all one cycle that has to be smashed by ventures like this, like Common Grounds?
Yeah, possibly.
I think you have to get out there, do something, and bring people together. Try something that hasn't been done before, and see if it can work.
Yeah.
You know, this is I know I'm probably been satirized here, but I've told Leah so many times about something called feasible improvisation, Jane Jacobs' definition.
Deserves to be satirized.
Yeah, but can you do it? Right, that's feasibility. And improvisation brings out the idea of creativeness. You know, let's try this. It hasn't been tried before, so let's try this.
Give it a shot.
And I think that's what actually brings life to a city or a community. That's my own feeling.
100%.
Yeah.
So I just want to say something, if it's okay. I was very remiss of me not to credit you, Wally, for providing the ecosystem that allowed Common Ground Fete to be born as an idea, because without Red Books, we wouldn't be here today.
That's
like,
very
in
that's
so
very
many
kind of
ways.
you,
Like this radio station wouldn't be here. You know, ABC never would have existed, probably. There's so many things that just never would have gotten off the ground.
Yeah.
Very true.
I guess the thing is, what was that old thing, Steve? If you build it, they will come. Like, if there's spaces for people to meet and do these things, and we could do with a lot more of these spaces. And now that the main street is on its knees, maybe that's how we could reinvent the main street with more third spaces. I know it's probably completely unfair of me to throw this question at you, because you've already touched on how complex the issue is. But how do we build new communities and new third spaces in this era of detachment?
Well, get people actually doing something tangible, getting out, getting off their screens, get out, meeting people, listening, offloading. If that's what you feel you have to do, offload away. Someone will hear you.
Yeah.
It's like you know, these petitions you see online. and I see people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm really against that, I signed an online petition. Like, go away and don't be annoying me, like, you know what I mean? It's just so irritating.
Yeah.
What do you actually do? Now this is from an old woman at this stage, like, you know,
no, don't say
65
that.
this year. But, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the 70s, when I would have been kind of coming of age, the late 70s, people were doing stuff. People were in Carnsore.
Yeah.
People were on the PAYE marches, on the streets. People were going on strike. See, that's another thing. People were going on strike. I'm not saying everybody go on strike. I'm not saying that at all. But if things got so awful, you could actually do that. People are so terrified now of not being able to make the rent, not being able to make the mortgage, that they're sort of frozen or paralysed or something. And they feel that if they stand up and rock the boat at all, it's a bad thing. But if they meet people who say, actually, it's not a question of rocking the boat at all. It's a question of moving forward with some idea that you have, moving forward with some aspiration. Because ideas are great, but if they're not made flesh, they're just, you know, I don't know what they are. They're like, you know.
People actually need to have a person-to-person kind of experience or a memory to start with, or something, a draw, an attraction in the best sense of that word. They want to come back to something. I think the first time I came to Outspoken, now I've been to a couple poetry groups in Wexford, and I basically have spent a lot of my time in Wexford sort of in an isolation state, especially during the lockdown and all of that. And I came to Outspoken, and I remember it so well. I came with all these poems, you know, which one am I going to pick? I got a briefcase of poems. And I read 3, and I figured, well, I only knew a couple people there in a group of about 25 or 30. I said, nobody really wants to hear from me. Nobody likes me. And like, I'm taking up too much time when I stood up. And so anyway, I read the first one, and a couple people responded. I read the next one, and like 10 people were responding, and I read the third one, the whole room was responding. And it was all because of they heard words that meant something to them. You know, so the meaning, the connection was there. And it was like something I had not really experienced in a long time.
Isn't that the thing about poetry, though? It expresses something that most of us can't express. We feel it, but we can't put it into words. And then somebody writes a poem, and you go, feck it, that's it. Oh, I said feck it, is that okay?
No, I think that's
that's my own experience with music. I can't play a note, right? And I do these karaoke things for fun, but you know,
yes,
I appreciate music, and it means a lot to me. So the connection is there through music. Yeah.
So we'll go on a break now in a second, but before that, if people want to help or be involved in Common Ground on the day, can they contact yourself, Leah or Liz, or
I think my email should be available on your social media.
It is.
Underneath the poster, the wonderful poster. I want to credit Deandra Dodebeer for the amazing artwork. We're so lucky to have
amazing, isn't it?
Elaborate, beautiful.
And you know, when you put up the poster on a notice board or on a window or whatever, it really stands out.
It really does,
if I do say so myself, amongst all the other posters.
Isn't it the perfect answer to AI art? Something like that. AI would not
which is
do
something we
like
have
that.
to mention, is that we're actively not using AI and not allowing AI to be something that is kind of advocated active there. Not only are no money's changing hands, but also it's all about sort of the DIY spirit and human made stuff or human created ideas. Or
I need to read this real quick.
Of course.
By Giorgio Agamben, Italian philosopher. Artificial intelligence is not dangerous because it is artificial, but because it relocates thought beyond the human subject. The danger lies not in the machine itself, but in the human decision to stop thinking. And you might say the human decision to stop doing, the human decision to stop creating, stop doing what humans have done for centuries. So we're trying to recreate what humans have done for centuries and go beyond that, you know, create new pathways, new expressions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because as we stop being practiced in thinking in ways that are hard, and you know, hard thinking is really important to practice, just like exercise is important for your body. The more we shy away from doing the hard cognitive work and let machines do that, the more liable we are to believing conspiracy theories or whatever our governments tell us, or whatever it is that is being sold to us. We're more likely to buy it because we're losing that kind of defense, which is our critical thinking. That's something that we need to be practicing on a daily basis, and doing creative work, and hopefully doing, I don't know, even manual labor, if that's what you like. That's good for your body. But creating and making together is so important.
So important.
Absolutely. Now you're listening to the Red Book Show on Wexford New People's Movement Radio, where we have Leah and Liz from Common Ground. Send in your messages. Come on, lads, send in some messages and questions on wnpmr.com. We're going to have a piece of music now, and we'll be back with the guys afterwards. This is Dream of Boston Town by Corner Boy.